So actually, before I got into sports or music, I was a science nerd. And funny thing, the things I was most fascinated with are things that people still don't know the answers to. But when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, I had this little collection of magnets, and my father got these magnets for me. He was an engineer, and he loved the fact that I was into science. So he got me these magnets. I used to play with them all the time. And I remember some of them were bigger than others, and some of them were stronger than others. And of course, my favorite one was the stronger one. And then there was this couple of pieces of metal that weren't magnetic at all, that were just part of this collection. And I sort of disliked those, but I still played with them just to observe how they were not magnetic. And then I had this rubber magnet, which was really fascinating because I knew that like iron and nickel and cobalt were the magnetic metals, and this was rubber. So I figured there must be these little pieces of metal in there that I can't see. But I used to look at these things, and I was just fascinated by the fact that these magnets, these things that never even touched each other, could attract or repel. And I always was just in my mind trying to figure out how this could be. And for a while, I got really fascinated with rocks and just like different minerals and how they were formed, and trying to figure out if I could identify, different rocks just from looking at them. And I got these books with talking about all the rocks and how they were formed and what they looked like. But then I became fascinated with the human brain and just the idea that we could form consciousness from some cells in the head. And of course, that's still a mystery, but I was so fascinated. I remember I got the encyclopedia, and I had a picture of a brain, and I got tracing paper, and I really carefully traced the brain, and I was showing it off to my family very proudly that I had this picture of the brain that I had traced. And I used to buy these science books, which is how I got good at sports, as I mentioned in a previous video. And I really liked my science classes. And then in high school, something science related happened that changed my life, which I can talk about in another video.